Hop back inside the bank.
Like his colleagues, Officer William Lance had responded to the call for backup. He found himself facing the bank and a barrage of military-style gunfire.
The cars around us began to explode from the rounds because they were armored piercing bullets. My partner immediately told me to take cover behind our car. We got behind the engine block, which they taught me in the academy. That was the safest spot to be when that type of firepower is coming at you, because it's hard for the round to get through the engine block.
Officer Lance was just 10 days out of the academy, a rookie, in the midst of a gunfight even seasoned veterans of the force had never seen.
There wasn't that much cover there for two of us, so my partner told me to get some better cover. As I started to move back, that's when I was shot in the right leg.
Lance was wounded. He could only watch as the spray of bullets kept his fellow officers pinned behind cars and buildings.
They just nonchalantly walked up and forth, like daring us to come get him. They'd walk to the car, get more ammo.
The gunman seemed invincible.
The officers are firing at him and he's not going down.
The suspects were not going down because they were wearing body armor, not just bulletproof vests, but leg and shin gear that stopped the cops' 9mm bullets.
The suspects were getting hit, but they had body armor. It was just bouncing right off them.
Officer Todd Schmitz was working the Van Nuys division that morning. He arrived at the bank aware that an officer was down.
We knew an officer had been hit just north of the bank, so we ran through the parking lots, taking cover behind vehicles. We were headed towards that downed officer when we came across two other officers who had been shot right across the street from the bank.
Knowing he had to get the injured officers out of the crossfire, Schmitz commandeered a nearby police car.
I drove the car into the parking lot that the officers were downed, and we did an officer rescue. And then I backed the car out of the parking lot and drove it to a waiting ambulance.
At that moment, adrenaline pumping, Officer Schmitz gave little thought to the bullets whistling through the air.
When you sign up for this job, you know what can happen, and putting your life on the line for another officer is part of your job.
Dr. Montez, the dentist with a window view, watched the rescue unfold below. But his focus was on a badly wounded cop who had sought cover inside his office.
I opened the door and there was just blood and glass and screaming. He started yelling, I've been shot, help me, help me.
The gunfight raged on just across the street as Montez worked to stop the bleeding of the injured officer.
And that's where I know the bullets had gone in, but there was no exit sign. So I was thinking that he had a kidney, a liver, something was also damaged. And that's what I really got scared, that am I going to be able to save this person?
In the span of 30 minutes, the gunman had unleashed an arsenal onto North Hollywood. But even after one suspect is killed, the other continues his carnage, driving at a slow crawl down the street in a stolen white car. He attempts to ram oncoming cars, but fails until he spots a pickup truck. Still shooting at police, he gets into the truck only to find the keys missing.
Well, now there's an officer shooting.
He crouches behind the front of the car, firing through the windshield at officers.
There's quite a battle going on right here, and this guy's not giving up whatsoever.
Then a bullet finds him.
This man is very, very dangerous, so they're not going to take any chances with him whatsoever. And it looks like they've got him in custody.
Emil Matazarenu died where he lay. Last year, his family filed a civil rights suit against the Los Angeles Police Department, claiming the LAPD did not allow emergency services to treat Matazarenu and let him bleed to death. In court papers, the LAPD denies those allegations. But almost 2 years after the deadly shootout, the question of this gunman's death still lingers. There are conflicting reports from officers and EMS technicians who were on the scene. But one thing is clear. Shot 29 times, his hands in cuffs, Matazarenu lay in the street for over an hour before EMS arrived and he was pronounced dead. Although the Los Angeles Police Department will not comment while the suit is still in litigation, Officer Lance finds the situation upsetting.
It's frustrating because you want to do your job and you want to do it right. But you always in the back of your head, you got to think, is this person going to sue me, take my house away?
Today, Lance and Schmitz are still on the force. and still remember that dramatic February day in unexpected ways.
You drive these cars a little bit fast, the rubber burns, and that smell reminds me of the incident. So when I smell that, because of the tires burning at the scene, and brings back the memories of it.
When you lay down at night after an incident like that and you relive what just happened, and then you try to get some sleep, and you wake up in the middle of the night and you think you hear gunfire, and you know, for the first couple days it was really hard sleeping.
A nightmare like this can't help but leave some physical and emotional scars. And even an ordinary day seems extraordinary.
You have a new appreciation for life after something like that happens, after hearing the bullets being hit all around you and you not being hit. You have a new appreciation for life, and you realize how fast that life can be taken from you.
I'm just so grateful to God that it turned out the way it did, that I was able to help out somebody, that they were able to survive and go on with their career.
More than 300 police officers were involved in the North Hollywood shootout, but their firepower was still no match for the suspects' military-style weapons. As a result, the LAPD is now training officers on the use of M16 assault rifles.